What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. In today's video, we want to talk about the Demon Lord Coalition event again. And after the day one of just playing through this brand new content, it's supposed to last 4.5 weeks here, by the way. This content feels completely out of touch with basically the entire player base. I think good content needs to connect with obviously the end game players. It has to make them play the format, make it worthwhile for them to play the format. They are only the 5% of the total player base. That would be my estimate. But it also needs to be extremely viable for brand new players. Otherwise, they just can't really engage with it beyond, one team or one instance. So in this case, the Demon Lord Coalition event, like most people that are just starting the game, you're not really going to get much out of this event. Like it feels like a complete nothing event, to be honest. The 5% or whatever, 10% end game players or late game players, they'll have a couple teams to slog through some of this. And then, maybe they'll have some fun for a day or two. But the vast majority of the player base, they can't even do anything. They can get maybe stage one, maybe get one team in, do something, and that's about it. But for them, this entire coalition event is a total nothing. And here's the even crazier part. If you don't have a team with Senna, for example, Senna is going to be the vast majority, runaway MVP for this format because she gives so much turn meter. And the way you basically do so much damage against the Demon Lord is you just have to do lots and lots of attacks, right? Just get as much turns as possible. So that's one way to do the max damage against the Demon Lord. So if you don't have a champion like Senna, actually, if you don't have Senna, you're already miles behind, regardless of what other champions you have on the team. So, for example, a team like this, right? Senna, lots of turn meter. You have passives that boost damage as well. And then, of course, Toshiro doing just crazy amounts of damage. And, of course, crazy gear on this guy's account. Same situation here on the team 2. We have Senna again. This one, we have Titus coming in here. We have Titus again. We have Senna again. Now, here's the other thing with Titus, and I'm going to show you guys why the Demon Lord Coalition event is even more broken, is because there seems to be some kind of bug that's happening with the Titus comps, and I'll show you exactly what happens in this video here. But I just wanted to make a comment about how this Demon Lord Coalition event has been a complete fail, to be honest, complete fail. It doesn't connect with early game. It doesn't connect with mid game players. It's not going to engage their participation, for example. And for the end game player, you have a couple key options that are like a million times better than the next best option. So like I said, if you don't have Senna, you're miles behind. And if you don't have Titus capable of doing what I'm about to show you right now, then you're miles behind. All right. So there seems to be some kind of bug or some kind of issue with Titus performance, mainly because of the way that the Demon Lord interacts with the shields. So after turn 30, the Demon Lord is basically no longer going to factor in the shields into its incoming damage against you. You're just taking damage from him. Now, at turn 30, if you don't touch the shields again, at turn 35, the shields will actually revert. It seems it reverts back to what it should be, like in terms of overall size. So as long as you don't touch the shields, like what I mean by touching the shields, I mean by like using Wixwell's A2, growing the shields again. The shields will kind of revert back to what it should be, like outside of this tainted Demon Lord scenario. And then your Titus will be able to hit for pretty much his maximum hits. In some cases, even more. That's what I found. I tested it once or twice. This is my second time, actually. I tested it once. And that's how it worked. I was able to chalk in a couple big hits. But those big hits, like the full damage hits with full shields, only could happen after turn 35. Before then, you can kind of see that my Titus is doing about 7 million. So not significantly, not significant or anything like that, right? And that's because the shields are only working at 10% efficiency. They're only capped out at 10% of what they should be. But like I said, at turn 35, it seems like the shields revert back to full shield size, right? So we can see it here in this video. It's still pretty early on, so maybe we'll just skip through until the turn 30 part. Turn 30 is the big turn, because that's the turn where the shields should not be touched again. Okay, so let's get to that stage, and we'll talk more about what needs to be done. All right, guys, it's actually crazy because as I'm making this video, I'm informed that there was a bug and they fixed it while I was making this video. So actually, while the run was happening that I'm showing you guys on screen, it's fixed, so it no longer works. So I can still show you guys how this was working, and how this actually breaks this entire community event, which is really, really brutal. So I do have a recording of my run, my first attempt, just testing it out before. So I'm using the same team. We're reaching, turn 30 here. And the key thing here that we need to pay attention to is the size of the shield. So what we want to do is basically, after turn 30, we're no longer using Wixwell's grow ability. So this is what was happening with people. Titus is still hitting for, under 7 mil or whatever. And yeah, the big thing here is that it's going to get substantially bigger, right? So let's just jump into that, move along quickly. So at 30, we don't touch the A2 anymore from Titus, from Wixwell. And then at 35, you see the shields go from these big blocks to these little skinny blocks. You see it here? So hold on, let's just check here. 35. So it's actually starting to grow like progressively from 30 to 35. So at 35, it maxes out. And there you go. Titus hitting for 92 million. So previously he was capped out at 7 million or so. And now he just threw one in for 92 million. Now, it's pretty crazy that this gets overlooked and somehow people figure this out. But anyways, there you go. Titus hitting for 108. So previously, like I said, he was capped out at 7. And my Titus isn't even the best. It's a 4-star. I don't have defense down. I don't have ignore defense or anything like that. So he's not even hitting for like the crazy numbers, right? So you see some of these guys with insane Titus teams, and they took advantage of this. So like, for example, total damage on this run was just under 500 million. And that's not even crazy, right? But anyways, that was the footage from my test run, all right? And then maintenance was happening, so my score didn't get recorded. I didn't know that maintenance was to fix this issue. So we currently have this current run that's happening right now. So we can just let it run and see what happens in, live situation, right? Because now it's live. Apparently they fixed it. Let's see exactly what happens here. I guess I'll move my head. Move my head around. Come on. There you go. Just shrink my. There we are. All right, so we're turn 30 now. So Wixwell should not use the A2 anymore, right? So we'll just do something else. All right, let's see if Titus can hit for big numbers. No, he can't. What happened? Did we lose the shield somewhere? He broke through the shields. One shield. Like, we're not showing the magma stack. We're not showing the shield set. It looks like the clan boss broke through his shields. Is that what happened? Yeah, he did. He literally just broke through them. So yeah, so that's how they're gonna fix it. So now the shields just are basically gone at turn 30. He hits so hard, he hits through the shields. Crazy. I mean, this is a worse situation than it was before. So if they just had Titus, or if they just had the shields working as normal, where Wixwell using the A2 can still keep them going, um, that's a better you'll get a better performance than this situation where the boss just breaks your shields. So at this point, that's gonna be it. He's chewing through them. Shields are breaking. Yeah, you see the Hatter. The Hatter has no shields anymore. So previously, he wasn't able to destroy all the shields so quickly. Um, and that's their fix. So this is their fix. What are they gonna do about all the runs of people that use Titus teams to top the leaderboard? Because those runs should be invalid, right? Because they're operating off of a bug. Um, Anyways, this just kind of shows you guys the level of broken, the broken shenanigans that this tainted Demon Lord Coalition event is, you know, ongoing, right? It's just really bad. But as long as you don't have anybody in your bracket, then in your bracket that is taking advantage of this exploit, then you probably won't see too many Titus teams at the top. Like for example, I didn't. My best team is still Ninja. And yeah, there's nobody that used Titus because Titus was not performing as well as Ninja. But still, that's still a problem with Senna. Senna is just miles beyond, right? So if you don't have Senna, then you're miles behind. Even if you have better gear, better champions, you're miles behind. So, and if you don't have the Titus teams that was able to do this, exploit. So this guy got crazy score here with Titus. Then you're not gonna be up in this, top of the leaderboard, right? Because right now the best team, they're centered around Senna, Toshiro for the best individual damage dealer, and then you have some of these other guys, uh, sneaking in with these Titus teams that shouldn't be there. So it's pretty busted. It's a bunch of broken stuff happening. But hey, you know what? It doesn't really matter, right? Honestly, it doesn't really matter. Just collect your goodies. They're helping rack up the multiplier and all that, so that's all good. And yeah, your bracket stuff, like honestly, it's not like a huge deal anyways. It's one of those things that if you get lucky in a decent bracket and you have a good account, then you can get it without having to rely on exploits, because you rarely got multiple top 100 players in the same bracket. So you're probably going to win it anyways. But anyways, we don't focus on that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, I think it's a bit of a miss, this coalition event. You guys let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I don't think it connects at all with beginner, middle, or even end game, because the end game, we're just looking at one or two key champions. In this case, it's actually just one champion, and then it's Toshiro, or you did the Titus exploit. So that's the only thing that you're looking for. Everything else doesn't really matter. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Hopefully this was informative for you guys. Makes a lot of sense when you guys start looking at the teams and what happened. Appreciate you guys watching until the end. Have a great day. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next one.